Welcome everybody, my name is Christian and today I'm going to be doing the rankings for the Imperial Ship Title cards. Title cards are upgrades that can be applied to a specific type of class of ship only and only for a certain faction. So the first I'm going to do is the Gladiator. Now, the Gladiator has one particularly amazing title upgrade. It's the Demolisher. It's 10 points, so it's relatively expensive, but if you ever have any number of gladiators in your build as the Imperial officer, I don't care what you need to give up. Get the 10 points to have Demolisher. If you have one gladiator, have Demolisher. If you have 3 gladiators, make sure one of them is Demolisher. It's a must-have for the gladiator class. What makes it so great is that you can do one of your attacks after you execute your maneuver. So for a ship like this where you want to be in that black range dice, you can be pretty far off and maybe you do some red firing dice and then you zoom up ahead and then you can go ahead and give them a great broadside and then line yourself up for a second great attack. Doesn't matter if you're first player or second player or if you have a turn activation advantage or disadvantage, always have Demolisher on at least one of your ships. The other upgrade is pretty good. It's 3 points and the black die whenever you attack the rear of a ship could be fired at medium range. So it's a pretty circumstantial card. It's only 3 points. It's fine. Either include it or don't include it, but always have at least one of your gladiators have Demolisher. That's the takeaway point. For the assault carrier, there's 2 upgrades for it. There is the suppressor, and after an enemy ship ends its activation, if it's within distance 1 to 3 of you, you can exhaust one of its defense tokens. So that's pretty interesting. That's good if it's paired with a Star Destroyer and you have this on its side, and then when that ship gets in close, when it ends its turn close to you, you can go ahead and flip that brace over, and so that way when the ISD or something larger hits it, you have to think twice about whether or not they want to lose that forever. So for 4 points, it's a pretty good upgrade. For the other one, Vector, it's only 2 points, and the speed of any squadron without heavy is increased by 1 to a maximum of 5. So heavy are usually your bombers, so your TIE bombers. So regular TIEs, TIE advances, TIE interceptors are already 5. But this is particularly good for TIEs and TIE advances, and as well as the heroes that go along with them. So it's only 2 points, and if you know you're going to be using this as a big carrier, then go ahead and have them go up at an increased speed of 1. For 2 points, it's a pretty good deal. Next are the 3 upgrades for the ISDs, the Imperial Star Destroyers. I really like the Relentless. It's pretty cheap, it's only 3 points, and I would pay that price for any 3 command ship to go down to 2. It gives it much more flexibility. You don't need to plan out nearly as far as you normally would. For 3 points, whenever I have ISC, I almost always include it. The next one that I like is the Avenger. While attacking, the defender can't spend their exhausted defense tokens. This is really good if you're using a combination of other upgrades and other ships. It can provide a terrible knockout punch against those enemies that have been hit by a overload pulse or just been fired on by other ships. You want to have this if you have a plan for other ships and have this activate late in the turn. The last one is Devastator. It's 10 points and it's too expensive and too situational and very self-defeating, so I would never really recommend it. It's better to have a weapon upgrade instead. It allows you to roll additional dice for every discarded defense tokens, but for the most part you don't want to discard those defense tokens, so just go ahead and skip over that one. So the Interdictor only has 1 title, but it's a great one, and it's Interdictor. It allows you to exhaust this card, and you get to re-ready one of your other upgrades on this ship. for 3 points, this should likely be included on every time you have that ship. You should probably go ahead and include this upgrade, because if it's either the tractor beams or the gravity wells or Wolf Gavarin, there's so many different things that can be exhausted, and you just as well use them on this ship. The next two are for the Raider. Now they're both pretty helpful, and they're both fine. And the one that I like a little bit more is Impetuous. At the end of your attack step, choose one of your hull zones, and you may perform an attack against one enemy squadron from that hull zone, even if you have already attacked this round. So essentially, this allows you to do 3 attacks, and can make it particularly deadly against hero squadrons. Maybe you even have them double arced, and then you can go ahead and fire a 3rd time on the same squadron. 2 black dice, or a blue and a black, you can do a lot of damage. And then the Investigator. It allows enemy squadrons that are within distance 1 of it to be treated as if they were engaged by 2 squadrons. 2 squadrons are particularly important because certain heroes have grit, which allows them to move if they're only engaged with 1 squadron. It's 4 points. If you have this is actually one of the few times you may want to have those quad laser turrets that give you a counter, because if they're engaged with you, they go ahead and have to attack you. So you're pretty much using this ship as a massive squadron. The last 3 upgrades are for the Victory Star Destroyer. I like Corruptor the most. So the speed of each squadron with bomber that you activate is increased by 1 till the end of the activation. It's only 5 points, and it's a pretty good deal to move those TIE bombers or even those fire sprays or other things that have bomber. Get to go ahead and move them up quicker. Next one I like is Warlord. It's only useful if you don't have a admiral or other upgrades that allow you to modify your dice, but if you don't, you can go ahead and change an accuracy into a damage. The last one is 12 points, and I've actually seen it used pretty well, Dominator, but I just don't like the fact that you're losing your shields just to add 1 blue die that you may not even be able to use. So if you are going to have this version, you may want to include a blue dice ion upgrade, so either your SW7s, which allow your accuracies that are unused to be counted as damage, or maybe one of those blue critical ones, since you're going to be rolling those more blue dice. But for 12 points, I just don't see it as all that useful. I would recommend just getting Spinal Turbo Lasers instead, and you get an extra red dice, and it's even cheaper than the 12 points for this one. And instead of getting 2 blue and losing 2 shields, you just get an additional red for every attack. So that's all for the Empire. They don't have nearly as many for the Rebels, so I hope you found this helpful. And do you disagree with any of the order of any of these? Which upgrade do you like the most? So just please let me know and write in the comments below. Thank you. Goodbye.